The alarms were screaming at Houston Methodist Hospital when my phone rang at 3:30 a.m. Power grid fluctuations, backup generators kicking in and out, patient monitoring systems going haywire. The night supervisor's voice was shaking with panic. "Mr. Bradley, we can't stabilize anything. The new security update is causing cascading failures across the entire RCOT network." I was already reaching for my keys when the bitter irony hit me. 3 weeks ago, I would have been racing downtown to fix this crisis. Tonight, I was just Tom Bradley, 48 years old, unemployed energy security architect with 23 years of experience that apparently meant nothing to Richard Morrison and his daughter Sophie. Let me back up and tell you how I got here. My name's Tom Bradley. 23 years ago, I walked into PowerGuard Solutions as a junior systems engineer, fresh out of the Navy nuclear program. No fancy MBA, no family connections, just a guy who understood that when you're protecting critical infrastructure, failure kills people. I built my career the hard way, working nights, weekends, holidays, while other guys were coaching Little League or taking weekend hunting trips. Cost me my marriage to Lisa, cost me time with my son Chris. But I told myself it mattered. What we did kept the lights on for 12 million Texans, especially after that brutal winter storm in February 2021 when the grid nearly collapsed. Over the years, I designed the grid shield architecture that protected everything from nuclear plants to pediatric ICUs. 28 patents with my name on them worth $750 million in licensing revenue potential. Not bad for a kid from Beaumont who started out calibrating voltage meters in ship engine rooms. The relationships took even longer to build. Dr. Stephen Harris at Houston Methodist, who trusted me to secure his cardiac monitoring network after that ransomware attack in 2019. Colonel Patricia Wells at Fort Hood, who'd call my personal cell when classified systems needed updates. Plant managers from Dallas to San Antonio who knew my voice meant their facilities were safe. These weren't just business contacts. They were people who'd been through midnight crisis calls with me, who'd watched me solve problems nobody else could handle. Trust earned over decades, one emergency at a time. Richard Morrison became CEO 2 years ago. Harvard MBA, all spreadsheets and synergy talk. He understood profit margins, but not what we actually did. To him, energy security was just another cost center to optimize for quarterly earnings calls. Sophie showed up 8 months ago. Richard's daughter, 25 years old, fresh from some AI startup that got acquired before it even launched a product. Kid had never run a real security operation, but she was family. That apparently counted for more than experience. I tried to mentor her, I really did. Showed her our protocols, explained why we did things certain ways. Why you don't just push updates to critical infrastructure without extensive testing. Why relationships with plant operators matter more than automation dashboards. But Sophie wasn't interested in learning. She was interested in revolutionizing. Every conversation turned into a lecture about machine learning paradigms and autonomous threat detection. The girl could talk for an hour about blockchain integration without saying anything useful about keeping power plants secure. The writing was on the wall when Richard announced a digital transformation initiative last month. "We need to appeal to next-generation clients," he said, in that conference room overlooking the ship channel. "Our approach feels antiquated. Antiquated. 23 years of keeping Texas powered up through hurricanes, cyber attacks, and grid failures. And it was antiquated. I thought about all those nights I'd stayed late while other engineers went home to their families. The Christmas Eve in 2018 when foreign hackers tried to breach the Beaumont refinery network. I spent 14 hours straight in that control room, rebuilding firewalls while my son Chris waited at home for me to help assemble his new bike. "Dad's saving Christmas lights for half of Texas," Lisa had told him. Chris was 24 now, a mechanical engineer himself, and he still remembered that night. Still understood why I'd chosen duty over family time, at least back then. The end came on a Thursday morning in late September. Conference room 12, the one with windows overlooking downtown Houston. Richard slid the termination papers across that polished glass table, while Sophie sat there scrolling through her phone like she'd already won the lottery. "We appreciate everything you've done, Tom," Richard said, not quite meeting my eyes. "But we need fresh thinking. Sophie here represents the future of energy security." Sophie was already wearing the access badge that used to hang around my neck. Kid leaned back in her chair, checking LinkedIn while my career got flushed down the drain. 23 years, I said quietly, looking at those papers. That's a long time to build something. Richard's expression didn't change. Technology evolves. We have to evolve with it or get left behind. I thought about the text I'd sent Chris 2 days earlier. Can't make it to your promotion celebration, son. Critical system deployment this weekend. He'd replied, "It's okay, Dad. I understand." I'd canceled family time to patch vulnerabilities that saved this company millions. Now, here I was getting discarded like yesterday's newspaper, while some kid who'd never managed a real crisis took over systems that kept hospitals running. "Sign the papers, Tom," Richard said. "HR will handle the transition smoothly." I picked up the pen, hand steady as a rock. Richard probably thought he was watching a defeated man, but he had no idea what he just triggered. See, buried deep in those patent licensing agreements was a clause I'd insisted on during the 2021 winter storm crisis, when the grid nearly killed hundreds of people. If the original architect gets terminated without cause, all operational rights revert back to me. The board had signed it desperately back then, terrified I might jump to a competitor when Texas was freezing and the power grid was failing. They never thought they'd actually need to honor it. I signed my name with the same precision I'd used to design their security protocols. No drama, no speeches, just a signature that would cost them everything. "Good luck," I told Sophie as I stood up. "You're going to need it." I walked out of that building, carrying nothing but a cardboard box and 23 years of relationships they'd never be able to replace. The first crack appeared 36 hours after my termination. I was sitting in my kitchen, drinking coffee and scrolling through job postings, when my phone buzzed with a text from Janet Pierce, a project manager I'd worked with for 6 years. "Tom, something weird is happening. Fort Hood just froze the defense grid contract. They're asking for you specifically." I set down my coffee and called Colonel Wells directly. Her voice was strained when she answered. "Tom, thank God. We received authorization requests from someone named Sophie Morrison, but our protocols require your personal verification. The contract is very specific about this. I'm no longer with PowerGuard, Patricia." Long pause. "Then we have a problem. Without your authentication, we cannot proceed with the security updates. Our entire base remains vulnerable." Within hours, the dominoes started falling. Dr. Harris at Houston Methodist couldn't validate their monitoring protocols. Encore needed my personal sign-off for grid protection updates. Centerpoint Energy was asking where Tom Bradley went. One by one, the partners I'd worked with for decades were asking the same question. My phone wouldn't stop ringing, former colleagues confused and panicked. "Tom, they're saying half our contracts are frozen." Sophie doesn't know the verification codes. Richard's calling emergency meetings every hour. I have to admit, I felt a quiet satisfaction watching it unfold. Not malicious satisfaction, more like watching physics work exactly as expected. You can't just remove the keystone from an arch and expect everything to hold together. See, Sophie might have had my badge in my office, but she didn't have my relationships. These people knew me by voice, had my personal cell for emergencies, trusted my judgment after years of midnight crisis calls. When some kid they'd never heard of tried to authorize critical security updates, they balked. Richard tried to fix it the MBA way with meetings and presentations. Sophie put together a slick slideshow about next-generation security paradigms and AI-driven zero-trust architectures. Pure buzzword soup that sounded impressive but said nothing about actually protecting infrastructure. The partners listened politely, then asked to speak with Tom Bradley. By day 5, the situation was getting serious. That's when Richard made his first real mistake trying to fix his original mistake. He had Sophie post on LinkedIn about revolutionizing energy security with blockchain-integrated solutions. The post went viral in our industry, and not in a good way. Comments ranged from professional skepticism to outright mockery. "Who is this kid? PowerGuard fired Tom Bradley for this?" 23 years of experience replaced by buzzwords. Jerry Hawkins, who ran IT procurement for the Texas Hospital Consortium, called me that evening. We'd worked together since 2011, had been through 4 major cyber attacks and countless midnight emergencies, including that nightmare week when Hurricane Harvey knocked out half the medical district. "Tom, what the hell is going on over there? This Sophie kid doesn't know a firewall from a screen door." "They wanted fresh blood, Jerry. Apparently I was too set in my ways. Jerry snorted. Set in your ways? You mean competent? Listen, when you're ready to start your own shop, give me a call. The hospital consortium would love to work with you directly. That conversation planted a seed. For 23 years, I'd been loyal to PowerGuard, even when headhunters called, offering double my salary to jump to competitors. But loyalty has to go both ways, doesn't it? The real crisis hit on day 8. Sophie, desperate to prove herself, authorized a major security update across the Texas power grid without proper testing. The update had a bug, a rookie mistake that any experienced engineer would have caught in quality assurance. Suddenly, power fluctuations hit 23 plants across Texas and Oklahoma. Patient care wasn't immediately compromised. The systems failed safe like I'd designed them to. But diagnostic equipment went offline, surgical schedules got disrupted, and emergency rooms from Houston to Dallas had to switch to paper records. The story made national news within hours. Energy security firms' botched update disrupts power across Texas. CNN ran interviews with frustrated doctors and nurses. The plant managers I'd worked with for decades were furious, not just at the outage, but at the incompetence behind it. My phone exploded with calls from reporters wanting comment. I stayed professional, declining interviews, but the industry trade publications got the story anyway. Former colleagues speaking anonymously painted a clear picture. Experienced architect fired for inexperienced family member. Predictable disaster follows. That evening, my son Chris called from his apartment in the Woodlands. Dad, I saw the news about PowerGuard. Are you okay? I'm fine, son. Actually, I'm thinking this might be the best thing that ever happened to me. What do you mean? I mean, maybe it's time I stopped building other people's empires and started building my own. Chris was quiet for a moment. Dad, you know I've got some savings from that bonus last year. If you want to start a company, consider it an investment in someone I believe in. That meant more than any contract, any salary, any recognition I'd ever received. My boy had faith in me, even when my own company didn't. The next morning, I called Jerry back. That offer you mentioned about working with the hospital consortium directly, I'm interested. Tom, after what happened last week, half the hospitals in Texas are ready to fire PowerGuard. We've been waiting for someone like you to give us an alternative. 2 weeks after the power grid disaster, I was sitting in a lawyer's office downtown, reviewing documents that would change everything. My attorney, Charles Webb, had been going through the patent agreements with the thoroughness of a forensic accountant. He looked up from the stack of papers with something close to amazement. Tom, this is remarkable, he said. These 28 patents aren't just valuable, they're foundational to every major contract PowerGuard holds. The licensing agreements are ironclad. When they terminated you without cause, they triggered the reversion clause, meaning you now own free and clear intellectual property worth $750 million in licensing revenue potential. Every security protocol, every grid protection algorithm, every intrusion detection system, it's all yours. I leaned back in my chair, letting that sink in. 23 years of late nights, missed family dinners, and sacrificed weekends had just become my ticket to independence. What's PowerGuard's legal position? Charles shook his head. They don't have one. Their own board signed these agreements in 2021 during that winter storm crisis. They were desperate to keep you from jumping to a competitor when the entire Texas grid was failing, so they agreed to these terms without reading the fine print. That afternoon, I had lunch with Jerry at our usual spot, Brennan's on Smith Street. The place was packed with energy workers grabbing quick meals, but our corner booth felt private enough for serious conversation. So, it's really happening? Jerry asked after I explained the legal situation. Bradley Energy Security is officially incorporated as of yesterday. I've got the patents, I've got the relationships, and thanks to my son's investment, I've got startup capital. Jerry grinned and raised his sweet tea. To the dumbest CEO decision in Houston energy history. We clinked glasses, but I wasn't feeling celebratory yet. Jerry, I need to ask you something serious. The hospital consortium. Would they really work with a one-man operation? Tom, let me tell you something. After Sophie's disaster last week, our board held an emergency meeting. They voted unanimously to terminate the PowerGuard contract. We were just waiting for an alternative. What about liability, insurance, all the corporate safeguards? We've been working with you for 12 years. You think we care more about corporate letterhead than actual competence? Besides, half the hospitals in Texas are small operations themselves. They understand that the best expertise doesn't always come from the biggest companies. Over the next month, word spread through the industry like wildfire. Tom Bradley was back in business, and he owned the technology that half of Houston's energy sector depended on. The first official contract came from Colonel Wells at Fort Hood. She called personally. "Tom, we need to talk. Our Pentagon contracts require the security protocols you developed. With you gone from PowerGuard, we're in violation of federal compliance standards. I'm not gone, Patricia. I'm just independent now. Thank God. Can you be in Virginia next week? We need to restructure our entire agreement." The meeting at Fort Hood was like a reunion. Patricia introduced me to 4 other defense contractors who'd been struggling with the same compliance issues. By the end of the week, I had $85 million in signed contracts. Word got back to PowerGuard fast. Richard called my cell phone directly, a number he'd never bothered to save in 23 years of working together. "Tom, we need to discuss this situation. You're poaching our clients." "I'm not poaching anything, Richard. These are relationships I built over decades. They're choosing to work with me because they trust my expertise. This is corporate theft. I'll sue you into bankruptcy." I kept my voice calm. "Go ahead. Your own legal team will explain why that's not going to work. You fired the guy who owned the technology. Actions have consequences." He hung up without another word. The industry trades picked up the story within days. Veteran security architect strikes gold after controversial firing. The article detailed how PowerGuard had lost $180 million in contracts in 6 weeks, while my new firm was signing deals with major defense contractors and hospital systems. But the real validation came from an unexpected source. Senator Maria Rodriguez, chair of the Senate Energy Security Subcommittee, called personally. "Mr. Bradley, I've been following your story with great interest. We're holding hearings on critical infrastructure protection next month. Would you be willing to testify as an expert witness?" "I'd be honored, Senator." "Good. We need people with your experience helping us understand these threats. The recent power grid failure has raised serious questions about private sector energy security standards. The irony was perfect. Sophie's incompetence had created a national security discussion, and I was being called to Washington to help fix the problems her generation had created. Meanwhile, PowerGuard was imploding. Sophie had made 4 more major mistakes, including a failed update that knocked out traffic management systems in downtown Houston for 4 hours during rush hour. Richard was calling emergency board meetings weekly, trying to explain how he'd managed to lose both his chief architect and $180 million in contracts in 2 months. The tech blogs were brutal. How PowerGuard's CEO destroyed a billion-dollar company in 60 days. The article quoted anonymous employees describing a toxic environment where experience was dismissed and nepotism rewarded incompetence. My son Chris visited that weekend, bringing his fiancée Sarah to see my new office space. It wasn't much, 1,500 square feet in a converted warehouse near the energy corridor. But it was mine. "Dad, I have to ask, are you bitter about what they did?" I thought about that for a moment. "No, son, I'm grateful. Richard and Sophie taught me something valuable, that 23 years of loyalty and expertise can't be replaced by family connections and buzzwords. They showed me I was worth more than they ever realized." Chris smiled. "So what's next?" "Next, we build something that matters, something that protects people without betraying the folks who make it possible." 6 months after walking out of PowerGuard with nothing but a cardboard box, I was sitting in a Senate hearing room in Washington, D.C., preparing to testify before the Energy Security Subcommittee. The nameplate in front of me read, "Thomas Bradley, CEO, Bradley Energy Security." Senator Rodriguez had done her homework. Her opening statement detailed how critical infrastructure failures had increased 200% in the past year, with most incidents traced back to inadequate security protocols and inexperienced management. "Mr. Bradley," she said, "you've been protecting America's critical systems for 23 years. In your expert opinion, what's causing this dramatic increase in failures?" I leaned into the microphone. "Senator, it's simple. Companies are prioritizing cost-cutting and nepotism over competence. They're firing experienced professionals and replacing them with cheaper, less qualified alternatives. The recent power grid failure in Texas is a perfect example. The cameras captured every word. Sophie's LinkedIn posts about revolutionizing energy security were projected on screens behind me as I explained in technical detail exactly how her incompetence had endangered millions of people during peak summer heat when air conditioning meant life or death for elderly Texans. That testimony made national news. Veteran energy security expert exposes industry crisis. The story resonated far beyond tech circles. It was about American workers being discarded for cheaper alternatives, about experience being devalued in favor of buzzwords and connections. The response was immediate. 5 Fortune 500 companies called that week, wanting to audit their energy security leadership. The Department of Energy offered a consulting contract to review federal infrastructure standards. My warehouse office suddenly felt very cramped. Meanwhile, PowerGuard was in freefall. The board finally acted 3 weeks after my Senate testimony, firing Richard in a closed-door meeting that leaked to the press within hours. The industry blogs were merciless. Board dump CEO who destroyed billion-dollar company. Sophie disappeared from LinkedIn entirely after her posts became a case study in corporate incompetence. Last I heard, she was working at a startup that made apps for food delivery drivers, but the real satisfaction came from an unexpected source. Richard showed up at my office on a Tuesday afternoon, looking tired and desperate. My receptionist, I actually had a receptionist now, buzzed me. "Mr. Bradley, there's a Richard Morrison here to see you. He says it's urgent." I almost said no. Almost. But curiosity got the better of me. He walked into my office like a different person. The corporate confidence was gone, replaced by something that looked almost like humility. "Tom, I made a mistake, a terrible mistake." I gestured to the chair across from my desk. "Sit down, Richard. I want to offer you a partnership. Equal equity, complete control of technical operations. Name your terms." I studied his face. Why? Because I destroyed everything we built. The board fired me, but they're willing to bring me back if I can fix this. You're the only one who can save the company. Richard, you didn't just fire me. You fired 23 years of relationships, trust, and expertise. You can't buy that back. Tom, please. I have a family, a mortgage. I'm 45 years old. Who's going to hire me after this disaster? For a moment, I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. Then I remembered that conference room. Sophie's smirk. The dismissive way he'd slid those termination papers across the table. You should have thought about that before you decided experience didn't matter. He left without another word. 2 months later, PowerGuard filed for bankruptcy. The company that had been worth $1.8 billion when I walked out the door was sold for parts, with most of their remaining contracts transferring to competitors, including several that came to me. Bradley Energy Security now employs 35 people, including 4 veterans from my old Navy unit and 6 engineers who quit PowerGuard after my firing. We work reasonable hours, respect each other's expertise, and nobody gets fired for being too experienced. Last week, Chris brought his twin boys to visit the office, 3 years old, full of questions about the computers and servers. I spent an hour showing them around, explaining how we keep hospitals and schools safe from bad guys. "Grandpa," one of them asked, "are you the boss of all these computers?" "Something like that, buddy." Chris pulled me aside afterward. "Dad, I have to say something. I spent my whole childhood watching you sacrifice everything for a company that didn't appreciate you. Now, I see you building something that actually matters, something that's yours. I'm proud of you." That evening, I was cleaning up my desk when I found an old photo, me receiving a company service award after 20 years with PowerGuard. Richard was shaking my hand, both of us smiling for the camera. I looked at it for a long moment, then dropped it in the trash. On my desk now sits a different photo, Chris's promotion celebration, the one I missed for that critical system deployment. His fiancée had sent it to me with a note. "You can't get these moments back, but you can make sure you don't miss the next ones." She was right. Last weekend, I took those boys fishing at Lake Conroe, taught them how to bait hooks and be patient. We didn't catch much, but we had time. Something I'd forgotten was valuable. When we were packing up, one of them asked, "Grandpa, why did you choose us over work today?" I knelt down to his level. Because sometimes the most important lesson is watching someone choose principle over profit, family over fear. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting mad. It's proving you were worth more than they ever realized. It's building something better, something that honors the people who make it possible. And sometimes, if you're really lucky, you get a second chance to be the person you should have been all along. Richard made one critical error. He forgot that in technology, as in life, you can't replace the foundation without bringing down the whole structure. 23 years of expertise isn't just a resume line. It's the bedrock everything else stands on. I learned something too. Loyalty has to be earned, not just given. And sometimes getting fired is the best thing that can happen to you.